this is Cat's Diamond Painting. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back if you've joined me here before. I'm here today to do a poster review of my latest diamond painting completion. This is House on a Cliff by Image World, licensed to Diamond Art Club. And this painting got released in the first ever Diamond Art Club mystery boxes, in the first version of the mystery boxes back in September. And I was lucky enough to grab one of those because they sold out within, I think, about 3 minutes of release. And one of the paintings in that first version was this, and it was only ever released in the mystery box. I'm really glad I managed to get hold of it. So this is my 31st ever diamond painting completion. It's also my largest ever diamond painting completion at 98 by 70 centimeters. So I've got you up as high as I can get you on my my camera stand today. However, I'm not going to be able to get it all in frame. So I will show you what I can, and then I will pan over it in a bit and put up some pictures so you can see it properly, because this painting is stunning. Right, let's see how much I can get it in. So it's one that I started in, let's see, it was November. Let me check my notes. 22nd of November, I started this painting, and I finished it on the March the 7th, but I didn't work on it all that time. I worked on lots of other paintings in that time as well. So I think it probably took me somewhere in the region of 6 or 7 weeks of work. So here it is. It's so beautiful. Right. Let me see, how can I show you as much of it as possible before I pan over it? So if I move the canvas this way, and then see if I can show you some of the top part as well, because that's gorgeous. Right, it's all getting folded up. Let me see. Okay. So there you can see the sky as well. Yeah, it's really hard to show you all of it. I think what I'll do is I'll pop a picture up of it, the whole picture now. And then, as I say, I'll show you more detail later. So I'll just leave it here so you can see this sort of central section. So the pros. Wow, this painting is just absolutely stunning. I was really lucky with that first mystery box that a lot of it was exactly my taste. You know, if this painting had been released as a normal release, I would have snapped it up in a heartbeat at the full usual retail price. But this came out in a mystery box and it was heavily reduced. They were all about 50% off, basically. You know, you got 6 paintings and a free gift in the box for the price of about 3 paintings normally. So I was really happy to get this. It's got 62 colours, so there's a lot going on. But unlike some landscapes, I feel like the colour palette is really bright and just diverse in colour. Some of the ones I've done in the past have had a lot of certain colours, like they almost have a theme to them. A lot of landscapes, don't they? For instance, I did Inspiration of Spring Meadows by Chuck Pinson at Diamond Art Club. Finished that some point last year. If you're interested, I have a poster review up on the channel. Absolutely love it. Gorgeous piece. But it was very heavy on the greens and the purples. And I did get a little bit fed up with those colours while I was working on it. This one just felt so much more diverse. I love the use of light, the sort of the sense of nature and just vibrancy. I think the details have come out really fabulously as well. So like this little dog here, I think is really good. I mean, obviously, if you look at him up close, he's a bit pixelated and blobby, but much less so than I think he could have been for this size. And then over on this side, we've got these little rabbits here. And yeah, again, up close, they're pixelated, but you can see what they are. And from the viewing distance you're at, they probably look pretty decent. So the rendering, I just think, was superb, you know, all these flowers. And I've done other landscapes with lots of flowers in, and somehow they haven't managed to quite capture the effect in this way. I mean, I'm always a fan of Diamond Art Club's rendering. You know, I'm pretty biased because I really do enjoy their style of rendering. But I just think they absolutely knocked it out of the park with this one. I think the colours of the sky, if I can get it so that I can show you that section as well, are particularly beautiful. So many varied shades of blue, obviously, but also of purple, of peachy colours, loads and loads of ABs. These yellow ones here, I don't know if you can tell in the camera, but they're ABs. It was beautiful, and the way they tone in with the mountains. Because I think some of these are actually distant mountains and some are clouds. It's hard to tell, actually. But yeah, they're gorgeous. And when I was working on this painting, I put up quite a few videos on my TikTok account where I do either like time-lapse videos where I'm completing a section, or I do like ASMR type ones where you can hear the popping. And every time I would do a section of the sky on that, which happened quite often because they were good sections for it, people were like, where do you get this? What's this painting? I need this painting. So obviously I'm not the only one who thought those colours were just beautiful. What else? Well, the drills were evenly sized, evenly shaped, pretty decent overall. I've got my trash pot here, and there's a fair amount in there, but you've got to remember this is a big old painting, and I put in anything that I just drop in here as well. I'm very clumsy when I'm diamond painting. So yeah, there's a fair amount in there, but I don't think it's out of the ordinary for what you would expect with a painting of this size. I had, oh, where's the lid? I had enough of all the colours. Let me have a look what I've got left in here. So I've got some packs where I didn't even need to refill my pots for a final time. Looking at some of the bigger colours in the painting that I put in these big pots. I mean, there's not tons of those left, so I suppose they did run a little low, given that you expect to have more spares of the larger colours. But I didn't run out of anything. I can't remember if there were any that I was worried I would run out of. Let's see, because there are some in here that don't have a lot, but then they were probably colours that never had a lot, if that makes sense. I mean, all the ones I'm pulling up are fine. None of these are, well, okay, there's one that ran very, very low, but I don't think that was a big colour in the painting. I think I probably just never had that many of that. So yeah, that was all fine. And this painting, because it was released in September, was well after the point that Diamond Art Club started tightening their drill field. So what I mean by that is, going back a long time ago, they had pretty standardized drills, sort of same as a lot of suppliers. And the grid was a bit bigger to accommodate them because they could be uneven, they would have a fair bit of trash, etc., etc. Then Diamond Art Club started upgrading their drills. So there's been 2 upgrades, but once they kind of got done with that first upgrade and they transitioned through to those new 13 facet drills, so all of the drills were the same, they all had 13 facets. They were very uniform, they had much less trash. They then tightened the grid of the diamond paintings because they didn't need to leave space, basically, for slightly uneven drills to fit without popping. So what that means is you get a really close fit of the drills. You get very satisfying kind of pops and crunches when you're pushing them into place, but they don't pop off. They just kind of fit perfectly. And I am kind of obsessed with that. It really, really adds to my diamond painting experience when the drills fit so neatly together. So I love that. You do just have to make sure that you've definitely connected them all with the glue, because sometimes because it's so tight, I don't quite push them down enough, and maybe they're not quite connected with the glue. So I like to just roller or move my hands over the paintings with this tighter grid. It was very, very confetti heavy. Landscapes tend to be honest. That's probably no surprise to you. You can see these sections of flowers down here. You know, there's a lot of detail going on. But you had the sky section and also all of this water section where there was a lot more. I mean, colour blocking's maybe the wrong word because there weren't big blocks of one colour, but there were sections you could get through quite quickly with your multiplacer. So that was a nice bit of relief. I will say, I work in rows and I started at that end and worked my way over to this end. And these last couple of rows that I did before I finished, they were a bit of a killer with the confetti. They took a while, but totally worth it. And you know what, I've done paintings of confetti and I've not enjoyed them. And I think where that's happened, I've maybe not been totally happy with the finished product. With this one, I felt like it was worth it, I guess, because it looked really good when I'd done it and stepped away. Even though some of it's really intense, like look at this section here, it's just, you know, really, really, really spattered with different colours. But it all really, really works. So I did have a couple of issues with this kit. I have covered these off already on my last quarterly review video, which I did sort of at the end of December, early January. But I'll just briefly cover those again for you. So the first thing was that I did have a lot of static in these drills when I was kitting up. If you are interested, I did a kitting up video for this painting and it took me a long time because some of the colours were just so filled with static. I was fighting to get them out of the bags and into the pots. I tried freezing them, which I think I had rubbing alcohol at that point, but I was using dryer sheets. I was, pouring them onto dryer sheets, rubbing them around, trying to tip them in. I think I've learned a few more tips for dealing with static since I kitted this up. But that was a bit of a pain and it did lead on to future problems further on. But the first thing that I encountered when I was actually working on the painting was that every so often I'd come across a patch where the glue, it felt like it hadn't been cured properly, I guess. And it was just really slippery, like the drills didn't want to just stick properly, they'd slide around on it. And I'd heard of this happening to people before. It felt a little bit different because it'd be so sporadic. It'd be like a tiny section and then this bit would be fine. And then this bit would be a tiny section that had a problem. And then this bit would be fine and so on. But all the same, I'd heard that this can happen, that, the plastic cover goes on too quickly before the glue is fully cured. And what you need to do is you leave it uncovered. So I did that for several hours and it was possibly marginally better, but it wasn't like really obvious that it was better. So it was a little bit annoying. I mean, it was workable because it was only small patches. So you could just carefully get those few drills on and then fill in around them and then they'd stay. And none of them seemed to be coming off. That was my concern, that the glue wouldn't actually hold them on. But nothing seems to have come off since, unless I'm missing it. So it was a bit aggravating, but it wasn't a major issue. So I emailed Diamond Art Club and said, this is the problem I'm having. Is there anything you can suggest? And they said, you can leave it uncovered for a couple of hours for the glue to cure. And I said, well, thanks for the suggestion. I've actually tried that. I already left it uncovered for probably 6 hours or so. Didn't really see an improvement. And the next thing I knew, I got a notification that I had a refund. And they refunded me for a sixth of the value of the mystery box, which is basically what this kit cost. I obviously didn't pay a full kit price for it. So that was a really nice touch. And they replied and said, really sorry you're having that experience. Because the diamond painting is discontinued, we can't send you a new one. I mean, I was already a fair way into it when I reached out to them, so I probably wouldn't have wanted to start again anyway. But regardless, I thought that was a really, really nice touch. So I'm just now working on this painting that I was still really happy with and still enjoying for free. And then later on I reached out to them again because that static that I mentioned to you. So what I was finding was some of the colours were like clumping together, but it wasn't like clumps that you see where they're properly stuck together and you need a drill grinder. They were just clinging together through static. So like if you pull them out, you could just move them apart with your finger. But the problem is you'd have to do that every time, because when they went back in the pot, they would re-clump together. So again, I reached out about that and said, do you have any suggestions? This is what's happening. And I sent them a picture. And they basically said, not really sure. We could replace up to 8 colours for you if that would help, because they have insurance on their kits. So you can replace up to 8 colours if there's problems or if you spill them or anything like that. And I said, look, to be honest, some colours are worse than others, but it's probably most colours to a degree. So I'm probably just going to persevere with it. I just wanted to ask, And they credited my account with $15 worth of points for the inconvenience. So again, really nice touch. And essentially, I was in profit working on this kit because I had these issues, which were very genuine issues, and I haven't experienced either of those things with a Diamond Art Club kit before. It's not really the quality I expect from them. But even so, despite that, I absolutely loved the kit and I was enjoying working on it still, and it still was higher quality than many other kits I've worked on. So I think it was just really good customer service to correct those things for me so well. And yeah, those things were aggravating at times, but mostly they would just come up now and again and it wasn't so bad. Actually, I saw one tip for using an anti-static wristband. And I tried that on one of the colours that was particularly prone to them all clumping together. And it did actually seem to work. They stopped clumping up so much. But then I couldn't really get the same effect with other colours. So I don't know what I was doing with that. But yeah. Anyways, so those were a few of the problems I had. Other things that happened that are just little minor things, but I'll just mention for the sake of completeness. Let me get my drill bag again. So color 3861. So this one here, you can see in this actually. See how clumpy quite a few of these are? But also, I won't be able to find any now, probably will I? It's hard to see, but what I found was that a lot of the drills in this colour had sort of concave backs, and I would struggle to get them to stick. I think I'm saying the right word, concave. So I think convex is where it kind of goes in on the back. So then you have problems with them sticking because there's like a little rim of drill around the outside and sort of nothing in the middle for it to grip onto. Whereas convex would be the opposite, where it kind of like, it almost bubbles out on the back. So again, there's only really one point making contact with the canvas in the middle. Hopefully that makes some kind of sense. Anyway, I did find that it took me a while to figure out that's what was going on with this colour, but quite a few of them weren't sitting quite right on the canvas and they were kind of sliding around and not sticking when everything around them was fine. And then I realised I was having to trash quite a lot of colours in that, quite a lot of drills in that colour. Yeah, so there was that. And then there was one other one that I noticed. Oh yeah, 907, this nice green. For some reason, this one was particularly prone to having holes in the drills. So it's a common fault in resin drills that you will get with all manufacturers, is that some of them will have little holes in the top where there's been like air bubbles during the manufacturing process. It's not a problem. It's one of the reasons why diamond painting companies always send us extra drills, because there will be some that you have to get rid of. And I just noticed there was a lot in that colour, but as you saw, there's plenty of them left. So yes, that is House on a Cliff. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pan over this so that you can see it in a little bit more detail and try and get a bit more up close. And then I will just come back to say goodbye. But yeah, hopefully you've enjoyed this. I know it's a kit that quite a few people would have liked to have had a chance to buy and haven't been able to because it was discontinued. It's always tricky whether you want to buy things from D-Stash or not. Prices can be higher because of the nature of supply and demand. What I will say is, if you like the look of this kit and you get a chance to buy it, go for it, because despite the issues I had, I really, really loved it. And yeah, I'd do it again. Really one of my favourites. I seem to say that every time I finish one at the moment, but it is genuinely one of my favourites. So let me show you a closer look of this canvas. Just thought I'd show you some of my favourite parts before I say goodbye. So I think the house over here is lovely. There's lots and lots of ABs in it. That's one thing I haven't mentioned actually. There's quite a lot of ABs in this kit. We had reds, particularly in the roof. We had a lot of these pale yellow ones up in the sky in particular and various other places. There were greens around and about and some white ones. And I think so the whole picture has the effect that there is light coming in. Probably the sun is somewhere over here because you can see the lighter patches in the clouds from this way and glinting on this side of the mountain. And it has that same effect on the house. And this is, of course, credit to the original artwork that they've captured that light. But the rendering has done it justice. You know, the choice to put ABs there, it's the house glinting, the sunlight glinting off that roof, I think is gorgeous. Little bits of ABs peppered through the flowers as well really accent those beautifully. Another thing is that I don't know why, but for some reason I just really like this little bridge in the distance here. And also, in fact, the rope bridge, I did not enjoy diamond painting the rope bridge. It was very, very bitty, quite confetti heavy at times, but I think it's very cool. And the colours of the water, they were beautiful too. Oh, and I haven't shown you Mr. Eagle up here in the sky. So yeah, that is House on a Cliff by Image World. I hope you've enjoyed taking a look at this with me today. And thank you for joining me here. So yeah, I will see you again soon. Bye.